you're vaccinating is if you're using antibiotics, try and wait at least a month before you vaccinate on top. And of course, we've got, even if we're not having antibiotics, you know, orally as a medicine, they're often in our meat products. So buying organic, it's got to be a must. The antibiotic in the meat industry is huge, and overuse of antibiotics are creating such problems with resisting, and no one's found any new antibiotics for years. And as we know, thousands of people die from C. difficile and MRSA each year. It's still a problem with overuse of antibiotics. And every time you take an antibiotic, it reduces your resistance to that antibiotic by 5 or 6%. So over time, you can see how you could be building up a problem that when you're old and infirm, you might really need that life-saving antibiotic. It may have less effect for you. So there we have 10 areas. I hope they've given you a sort of a sense of empowerment and some other ideas that you can do with your families and with your partners. And I hope you can just think of natural health as not just being an airy-fairy term, but actually something that can really develop your immune system. And you should actually see it working. I mean, over 5 years of using it myself and seeing other people use it, it has been amazing, you know, how I've seen families and people go through disease without complication doing it this way. And as we know, we've got Kingston Hospital, great hospital on our doorstep, and GPs who are supposed to be listening to us patients now as well. If you're living in Kingston, and they've set up a consortium to start before all the other areas, and one of their big main sort of like elements is listening to the patient, and evidence-based medicine has those 3 strands, of which listening to the patient is one, because the patient experience and the patient belief has such a big part to play in you getting better and whether a product's going to work for you or not. So I hope you just leave tonight with a little bit more sense of strength and belief in nature. So that's that part of the talk over. Oh, an hour, that's not bad, less than an hour, look at that, fantastic. Oh, well, we've got time for a few questions now, and please add anything else that I've missed, challenge me on anything, so that I can make some notes, because it will help me when I put it into this little book. All right, so anything that cropped up for anybody. I haven't got a pen, so has anyone got a pen that could take notes for me? Would you not? Anything? Yeah, thank you.
What are all those things that you've got there?
Oh, no, this is, well, after we have a little break, I forgot to ask everyone to bring something from their first aid kit, and I didn't want to bother anyone again with another email. So I thought I'd bring mine, and after the break, if anyone was interested in just looking at other natural products, and I've just got a few here, and then you can add to them. Thank you. So we can go through them now if you want. Is anyone interested in looking at the sort of first aid kit now? Have you got any other questions? Do you want to do that? Okay, I did actually produce a little form that I will try and develop a little bit more, and it's got different headings at the top: cuts, stings, colds, sore throats, burns, bites, bumps and bruises, rashes, eyes and tummy upsets. So just sort of general things there. And then I put different products, natural products, in the right box. And the people that help me with this are the Arnica parent group. So I don't know if you know, but we have about 700-800 people on a Yahoo group, health practitioners, parents, individuals. And if somebody gets ill, or child's having a fever, or if you've got a question about something, then people post, and we collected all of the products that people use from there. So I've taken them from there. So. I don't know how to present this best actually. I guess I could go through cuts. I could look at say cuts, and then you could add things to what I'm saying, which would be really helpful. And that will actually bring in treating wounds and things like that, which is often a worry, especially with tetanus. So let's say your child just has a minor graze, minor cut. The first thing that you would do, and we had a lovely GP that came to talk to us about this as well. So this is from that talk. Is washing with warm soapy water. The reason why it's warm is that you're hoping that the blood isn't going to coagulate too quickly. You want the warmth so that if there is a blood flow, you want to try and massage and try and push the blood out, because that blood will be cleansing to stop any antigens going back into the blood. So at least 5 minutes if you can, if you're a child, or if you can stand it for that long, as you can, warm soapy water. Not antibacterial soap, no soap with perfumes or any of the SLSs in it, because that's damaging to the skin. But just a normal soap, and then just leave it open, because the oxygen and the sunlight will help break down the bacteria, any bacteria that's in there. There are products that you can use, and then it's very much a personal taste, and then it depends how deep the wound is. So some of the products that we use is a Hypercal cream. So you can get this at Boots from Nelson. So it's got Hypernicum, that's the hyper bit, and then the calendula, which is that flower, and they work together to aid healing. So that's really, it's very, very soothing. That's really lovely. And sort of the jury's out on this one, but Colloidal Silver spray. There's an antibacterial, antimicrobacterial property of silver, and they do use silver in lots of dressings in hospitals. So we know that silver is a good thing to use. But lots of this has got bad press because there are other uses for this, and some people have used it every day, and they've turned grey, and you don't turn back again because it's silver. So, you know, just I guess that would be my warning to you. If you use this, don't just spray, because you can use it for sore throats. You can use it in eyes. It's so gentle, but you just don't drink it. Yeah, I think there's only been like 2 people, and I'm sorry to say, but they are American. 2 Americans who did. I think they took it every day for more than a year, didn't they? I read both cases, and very, very, very rare. So there's that one there. There's again quite a nice natural product that you can use. And I think I haven't got my tea tree, but there's also tea tree oil as well that you can dilute and put on a cup. Some purists amongst us have suggested that anything suppressing, so like a colloidal silver or a tea tree, might actually suppress the body's own healing. And I still use them, but it depends on whether you like tea tree or not. You know, I think there's still a part for it.
A friend of mine is a herbalist, and what she does is she mixes lavender, tea tree oil and calendula oil, and she said you can apply that to any wound.
Oh, that's really nice. And can you mix it and keep it?
Yeah.
That's really nice, and you're nodding as well.
Well, when I've got 3 children after I gave birth, I had a bath with all 3 of them, all the time. A little bit of olive oil as well.
Yeah, because you have to mix it in a carrier oil, otherwise it stays in its molecule, it doesn't disperse in the water, so you mix it with a tiny bit of oil. But yeah, lavender's fantastic. I've got lavender is actually, I think, in most of these sections. It's really amazing. And a friend of mine who uses oils a lot, she said that the difference between organic and non-organic is amazing in terms of its properties. So yeah, lavender's a lovely thing. And the BBC site had a great idea actually, using a wrapped sanitary towel, you know, the really padded ones, as a dressing, because it's it's already sterilised. Oh, that was such a nice idea. Anyway, so if it's really, really deep, and if you're trying to stop some blood, going. Now, the other thing that's really important if your wound is quite deep is hydrogen peroxide. They've actually found that this is one of the first elements in space, I think. I'm sure there was some science thing that said they're actually finding hydrogen peroxide as one of the very early elements. That's a really good product for if you have a deep wound that might have tetanus, a possibility of infection with tetanus there. It's got lots of oxygen, and it actually pulls in the oxygen and really gets rid of the bacteria. You can see it sizzling, and it's sizzling on that bacteria. And you can do it a few times, and once it stops sizzling, the bacteria is gone for then. And then you should do it several times a day for a couple of days, and then it will finish. There are some sites that say that you should only use that if it's a really deep wound that you expect that there might be a risk of tetanus, i.e. something is deep underneath the soil, because it's quite strong and it can damage some of the tissues. So you wouldn't just want to use it blatantly for any old little cut or graze. Just keep it for those situations, and then I think the risks and benefits will work its way out. And if you can, keep it open to the air rather than dress it. My sister-in-law's sister pricked herself with a thorn from a rose bush, and it was bound very tightly from the hospital, and there was a little infection in there, and she lost her finger. So if you can, best to leave it open, because the sunlight and the oxygen will help a lot. Is there anything else on cuts and grazes?
Just to say that needs to be diluted, doesn't it?
Oh yes, Anna, thank you so much. So I've got here 6%, And I think with younger children, you want 3%, you dilute it 50-50 with water. If it stings, just add more water to it because it shouldn't actually sting. It's a sensation, it's tingly.